With the Brooklyn Nets set to embark on the second half of their season, their playoff and championship odds just got a huge boost as Kyrie Irving, who hasn't been able to play home games for the Brooklyn Nets all season due to his decision to remain unvaccinated, might have just caught a break. During a media conference on Wednesday, NYC Mayor Eric Adams said that he hopes to phase out the city's vaccine mandates in the coming weeks, following the lead of cities like Boston and Washington, D.C. At first, the Nets didn't allow the unvaccinated Irving to play in any games. They didn't want Kyrie playing just as a part-time player, but they reversed that decision in mid-December. After missing the first 35 games of the season, Irving made his season debut in January. But now, Kyrie Irving as a full-time player, that could mean the Nets season could take a drastic change for the best. As you look at the Brooklyn Nets, they are currently in 8th place in the Eastern Conference with a 28-31 record. That makes them eligible for a play-in spot, but their aspirations are much more than that. When their season first began, the big three of Irving, Durant, and Harden, they were destined for big things. They were a lot of people's pick to get to the NBA Finals. But Kyrie Irving's part-time status, due to his refusal to get vaccinated, mixed with Durant's knee injury and Harden's growing unhappiness with Brooklyn, led the Nets to have a downward trajectory. But things have quickly changed for the best for this Nets team. Harden since has been shipped out of Brooklyn to the Philadelphia 76ers in exchange for Ben Simmons, who is happy to be here. And according to Nets Daily, GM Sean Marks recently said in a meeting with season ticket holders that Simmons and Durant could be back in a week or so. If Irving can also rejoin this team at full-time capacity, the Nets could be on the upswing. Also, the Nets just signed Goran Dragic. Now, how much does Goran Dragic still have left in the tank? We'll see. But he could be the playoff-tested gamer who ends up being the crown jewel of the buyout market. Dragic can still bring some shooting ability, which will be helpful when he plays off the ball. He hit only 4 of 13 attempts with the Raptors this year, but he was a solid 37% last year with the Heat, and he is a career 36.4% three-point shooter. And you look at Joe Harris, he hasn't played with the Nets since November 4th, since his injury, but he could be back soon as well to add some much needed shooting to this Nets team. And then you talk about the addition of Ben Simmons, who I think is going to add a very big dynamic to this team. You look at what Simmons brings to the Nets. I know a lot of people can make fun of Ben Simmons' inability to shoot the basketball, but let's first start with this. Ben Simmons is going to have the opportunity to play with Kevin Durant, who right now is one of the best players in all of the NBA. And Joel Embiid is a fantastic player. I'm not taking anything away from him. But Kevin Durant is just different, man. You look at Durant, he is one of those guys that can erupt for 50 points whenever he wants. And he will relieve Ben Simmons because Durant is that guy who constantly wants the ball in his hands. He wants the ball in late game situations. And that's going to allow Ben Simmons to do what he's most comfortable in doing, and that is playing excellent defense. He is quite possibly the NBA's best defensive player. Now, he is obviously going to have some rust not playing for a while, but once he gets back into midseason form, Ben Simmons is one of the better defenders in the league. Ben Simmons will ease his way into another key component of his game on this Nets team, and that is his passing ability. You look at Ben Simmons, he will have an opportunity to be a playmaker on a Nets team that is going to have a whole bunch of shooters surrounding him. I'm talking Kyrie, KD, Joe Harris, Patty Mills, and Seth Curry. This is going to make the Nets deadly. You look at the Nets, their remaining strength of schedule is 13th toughest in the league, so they're actually going to have a bit of an uphill battle to get out of that play-in and back into the top 6 and beyond. And just 4 of the remaining 23 games they have left are against teams outside of the playoffs or play-in, so the Nets are definitely going to have their work cut out for them in this final stretch of the season. But it is made known that the Brooklyn Nets' clear plan for this season is to win a championship, and that starts with their basketball executive, Sean Marks, who said this per Brian Lewis of the New York Times. Championship, that's it. I'd be doing 17 players and another 60 staff members over there a massive disservice if I said anything other than that, because that's what we're all here for. The Brooklyn Nets are in championship or bust mode. And the truth is, this might have been a team that was overlooked or written off when the whole controversy surrounding James Harden, Kyrie Irving's inability to play full time, and Kevin Durant's injury woes surrounded this team. But now, with guys getting healthy and back into the lineup, the Brooklyn Nets are still the team to beat in the East. This is no disrespect to any other team in the East right now. The Eastern Conference is very competitive, but you look at the Nets from top to bottom, if this team can remain healthy going into the playoffs, they stack up well against any team in a 7-game series. And I know a lot of people will say the Milwaukee Bucks, this is a team that beat the Nets last year. Well, James Harden was not at 100%. Kyrie Irving was not there. And Kevin Durant was a smaller shoe size away from hitting the series winner, which would have allowed the Nets to advance to the conference finals and probably en route to making the finals and winning the championship. The Brooklyn Nets know their window is closing. They need to capitalize on winning the championship now. And looking at the East, they have to like their chances against teams like the Bucks, the Heat, and dare I say, even the Philadelphia 76ers, who are going to be another one of those teams you have to look out for. I mean, them getting James Harden paired with Joel Embiid, that is going to be a masterful duo. But this Nets team, I just like how they look right now with the balance of their starters. You talk about the role players, the key additions they were able to make. I think it's going to all come together for this Brooklyn Nets team, as they will ultimately be the team to beat and the favorites to come out of the East. So we'll see how it shakes up. But health is number one, because one injury can derail everything going on in Brooklyn. But what do you think about the Brooklyn Nets and their chances in the East? And what do you make of the groundbreaking news of Kyrie Irving about to be eligible to play in every single game, which is huge because the Brooklyn Nets were in a position where they would be without Kyrie Irving for some games down the stretch here, and more importantly, in playoff series. But now with this new announcement that is set to phase out the city's vaccine mandate, Kyrie Irving will become a full-time player of the Brooklyn Nets, just adding to how dangerous this team can be. Let me know your reactions down below. Drop a comment. If you are new to the channel, please subscribe. Plus ring the bell. Drop a like. It helps the algorithm a ton. And let's blow this video up. Let's try to hit 27K. I'm coming out with NBA content almost every single day, so your support is greatly appreciated. This is Luca Rosano signing off, and I'll catch you all again in the next video.